What kind of film is this? I suppose it's the ultimate home movie, complete with lack of plot, lack of interest to almost everybody who is not there, and yet for the butcher, the baker and the candlestick maker, a memory. Great shots, great weather, and a chance to relive it. I'm gonna drive you crazy before you get out of here, Paul.
You are. Come on, mate.
Well, we're doing alright here.
We haven't crashed yet.
Not yet. Yet being the operative word.
Not yet.
We picked up the boat in Brundall, Swan boats. I've hired them many times and they are excellent.
Whoa, there's an otter there.
Moored up in Oulton Broad. Next morning, again, hardly a cloud in the sky. So we walked up and got a newspaper and some bread and milk as usual. Headed out of Oulton Broad before the Sunday crowd of sailing boats came. Just came out of Oulton Broad, had a great night and it's a beautiful morning. We had breakfast, a shower, and we're heading all the way up to Horning and maybe Ranworth Broad tonight. Just a beautiful Sunday morning. And here we are at St Olave's, the Bell Inn being the oldest pub on the Broads. And shortly afterwards we came into Breydon Water, the biggest stretch of water on the Broads. And after that, Great Yarmouth. So we came down one river and then at Great Yarmouth began to go up another. Going up the Bure now and getting very good shots of the windmills there that were actually used to pump water off the land into the rivers. The Stracey Arms and just stop off on the way. Had a good trip through Great Yarmouth and we're going to head up to Horning right now, so it should take another 3 hours or so. From there we headed then on up the river, the next port of call being Acle and Acle Bridge. Just a leisurely time. I love to just sit on the boat watching the world go by. And this is one of the old wherries. And as you can see, there's probably about 8 people on there, and they're just doing the same as we are. Nice wind that day. If you go in the right direction, there is. And St. Benet's Abbey. The Ferry Inn was closed, apparently went bankrupt. And then we came into the Golden Mile of Horning. Beautiful homes here, and this time of the year when the sun is shining, it's just really, really nice. And coming in, the new inn there. Favorite place of people to come and moor up and have a drink or a snack. And then there's Mrs. Grebe with her baby grebes climbing on her back as usual. And we went and had food that night in the pub at Ranworth.
Good day, good photographs, good herons, grebes.
Ranworth Staithe is a favourite place of mine. There's a shop there, great facilities, the maltster's pub that serves food. And there are nice walks from there through the countryside. Not least St. Helen's Church, known as the Cathedral of the Broads. Which has a great pipe organ and a 500-year-old antiphona written on sheepskin. We climbed the 89 steps to the top and got some of the best views of the Broads. Ranworth Dam leading in from the Bure. Malthouse Broad. And to the west of it, Ranworth Broad, a wildlife preserve close to pleasure boats. And a nice view of the church, and interesting churchyard, and a very nice coffee shop there. And walked down the nature trail and back to the boat. Decided to head back into Horning again. As I said, this is probably, this stretch of water is just perhaps the most famous part of the Broads, and the most scenic, I think, at Horning. I suppose Wroxham is the capital of the Broads in that sense, but certainly this stretch of river at Horning, culminating at the Swan Inn, is perhaps the most well-known and scenic and photographed. The Staithe and Willow is a great place for breakfast, and 90-degree corner there takes us then down past some of the homes, and then again a lot of wildlife there. We stopped and saw this grebe with 3 little ones on her back. Nice photography, nice scenery, and thoroughly enjoyable, and doubly so in that we can enjoy it and also get the video and photographs of it that enable us to relive the memory as we are doing here. Now we're coming down into Wroxham, and moored up there. Had a meal at the King's Head actually, and then we decided after the meal then headed out and got this great shot of a heron flying through the sunset. And decided that Salhouse Broad would be a great place to moor for the evening. So we left Salhouse. We're going right now through Wroxham Broad and back up to Wroxham. Some of the homes here are they're just beautiful. So we moored up there. I just came out of Wroxham, stopped at Roy's, got some provisions. The weather is absolutely fantastic. We've had 3 days, there's hardly a cloud in the sky, and I mean it's just rolling through Wroxham now, looking at the houses either side. It is just, I mean, just a pleasure. I mean, this is heaven. Broad's Authority Warden there. This is on the river and overlooking Wroxham Broad there. Favourite spot of sailors. Nice winds there. We thought we'd have a look around Great Houghton Nature Trail. The common terns were fishing for their young, some grey lag geese in formation. Typical shot of the Broads, the sailing boat there. It was the season for the little grebes there, and so we got a lot of good shots of those grebes, and I suppose I'm repeating them on the video here, but I'm just enjoying the scenery that we enjoyed. So we came up from Wroxham and then came back up to the Horning Mile. Which starts here at the Swan Inn as we turn right, and that wide angle shot giving a good shot of the whole thing there. The Swan Inn was built in the early 1800s. And this wide angle again as we're coming up to the ferry, giving a nice overview. I was standing right on top of the boat there. Then we sailed up to How Hill, passing through Ludham. decided to take a little trip on the electric eel. It means that we can go very quietly through these little channels and get great opportunities to see the wildlife, the birds, the butterflies, the dragonflies. And the Broad's authority wardens there are very, very helpful and very nice guys. The Eel Catches Cottage is now a museum and gives great insight into rural life in times past. I always remember the late Eric Edwards when I visit. He gave great enjoyment to many with his fascinating talks and the driest humour in the wetlands. When I asked the warden in the cottage if there had been any sightings of the swallowtail butterfly, he said they've been seen in the meadow. We were very fortunate to film this rare butterfly, only found here in Britain, and the largest butterfly in Britain. This particular swallowtail is only found here in the whole world. This is perhaps because it needs the tall milk parsley plant on which to lay its eggs. It particularly likes to feed on the purple marsh thistle plant. Both milk parsley and the marsh thistle are abundant here. If someone can tell me what the eye there is in the back of its head, I should be grateful. When it flies away, it appears an aphid was sharing the meal. And then Mr. Heron Mrs. Heron, as we left. Probably a young heron, that one. Well, next day it was just a little dull in the morning, but the sun quickly came out. We got our newspaper, moored up at Sutton that night, and then came over to Stalham here and managed to find a mooring place. Always difficult to find there, but we got on Stalham Staithe, and we were able to see the steam boat there, the small steamboat taking on passengers to just take down the river to Barton Broad. Then we headed past Hunsett Mill to Wayford Bridge, having a cup of tea on the way, and then on to Ludham. This is a very narrow part of the Broads, and it's a nice change. Nature close up, so to speak. There's a different feel here, and it was very enjoyable. Then back to Wayford Bridge, and saw a moorhen's nest with 6 eggs just beyond the bridge.
There's eggs in it, 6 eggs.
And then coming back into Hunsett Mill. And there's the old steamboat that we saw earlier in Stalham, passing us as we were getting a snack. This is at Barton Turf. We've just come in to the edge of Barton Broad and moored up, actually to take some pictures of the birds there. So from that we came across Barton, and this is Erstead. Now heading back down toward How Hill again. Beautiful day. Decided we'd go and get some more shots of the swallowtail. They'll come out in the sunshine and just sit on a branch like that in the sun. And if they'll do that, then it's great because they're still, and it means I can get a very good shot of it, and also of this is a very pleasant pheasant. So we then walked around the nature trail there, the How Hill Nature Trail. We walked all the way around it, and this is the house at How Hill, and another shot of a heron, and then the swan carrying the young. Apparently, when the birds are very small, they may be taken by pike. There's some pretty big pike in here, 3 and 4 feet long, and they'll take their young if they're not careful. Well, the Thursday, it was a dull day, but the clouds were very nice and made for some nice shots again. Naturally, it's not as pleasant just motoring along when the sun's not out, but fortunately it just kept coming out, and by the time we reached up there to St. Benet's again, the sun was on St. Benet's. Well, our final day, we're up at the northern end of the Broads now at Ranworth, moored there for the night, because it means we can get an early start. We don't need too early a start because we need to get down into Great Yarmouth to get slack quarter. So it would take us about 3 hours to get down there. So we didn't need to go too early, which was just great. Sometimes we have to get off very early. Sometimes we have to even go the day before. We can ride down on the river as the tide goes out, down to Yarmouth, and then as we're coming into Yarmouth, the tide will slow down. We'll get slack water there, and then the tide coming in will take us up the other river then, up to Brundall, Surlingham Broad, where we're taking the boat. So we just had a little time to look at St. Benet's Abbey, actually, because we had another hour before we needed to set out. We didn't want to get down there too early. St. Benet's Abbey, we're about to head down through past the Stracey Arms to Great Yarmouth, across Braden Water and up to Brundall. It's just 12 o'clock, a few seconds past, and we'll take about 3.5 hours. Low water is at 3:20, and slack tide is an hour after that, where there's no tide, and that's what we'll be aiming for. And it's been a great week. The weather today is quite nice too, but certainly this place here, St. Benet's Abbey, is a very, very peaceful place, and it's been nice to just come and spend half an hour just enjoying the scenery. And the place was closed up in 1545, so it certainly is quite an old place. This wall is 1,000 years old. We're heading now down the river and back to Great Yarmouth, and you can see all the windmills there. And Mr. Heron just keeping guard there. And in no time at all we're at Acle Bridge. Decided to just stop off at the Stracey Arms for a minute and right, well, we just coming up to Great Yarmouth, and beautiful day. Had a good run. We're going to get down there just on slack water, go through Braden water. It's quite cold, but the sun is shining, that's keeping us warm, and we're having a great time. I like the way they keep these windmills restored. They put the sails back up. In times past they were pretty bare, but they've renovated them and they look very nice. So we arrived in Great Yarmouth. It's around 1 o'clock. And just after, about an hour after low water, so there's very little tide as we turned the corner now and went into Braden, the biggest stretch of water on the Broads. Beautiful day. And then headed up the river toward Brundall, and as the sun was setting we got some really great shots there. And yes, when I was shooting I did have a graduated filter, make the sky a little darker, which makes for very nice shots. Came to Surlingham, very small Broad, tiny entrance, but with a lot of wildlife in there. And we were able to get some more very nice shots of the wildlife there. And Mr. Grebe here, tempting the little uns with a worm. Giving mother a rest. Always nice shots at this time of the year when those little grebes are sitting on the mother's back. Newcastle United fans. And a beautiful sunset. Last shot. A great holiday.